You're either being very disingenuous here, or you're thick. And I don't think you're thick, Abbey. Hey guys, today I'm critiquing Abbey Sharp, a very popular YouTube dietitian, and her BS made up justification as to why she can't stop paying for others to abuse animals and so that she can eat their dead bodies in sandwiches. It's really rather spectacular. Check this out.
So as my channel has really evolved over the years, I've seen a huge uptick in my plant-based followers. So of course, as a result, I've really
There's a lot of nice people about.
Made an effort to make more recipes for you guys who are looking for some more vegan and plant-based recipes. Also in my own life, I just have found that I've transitioned to eating more plant-based foods.
Nice.
Just, for a variety of reasons I'll talk about, but also the fact that it's kind of been a nice challenge for me to play with ingredients that I didn't necessarily grow up with, eating in a very kind of meat and potatoes British household. So that's been really fun to me. I'm sure GOTUS will come at me for this, but I think the benefits of eating more plant-based foods is hard to dispute.
There's no denying that. The overwhelming balance of evidence says a plant-predominant diet is healthiest. The more whole plant foods we eat, the more we prevent, treat, and can even reverse some of the top causes of death. The more animal products and processed junk we eat, the shorter our lives, the shorter our health span, and the more we just contract and die from the diseases of affluence that 3/4 of us will sadly have to endure.
So one, there's of course the sustainability and environmental considerations. In fact, Drawdown, which is a world-class research organization that analyzes global climate solutions, named eating a plant-based diet number 4 in their suggestions on improving climate change.
What a bunch of bellends. Every big authority in that area says that in pretty much every way, veganism is the number one answer to nearly all the climate ills. The Oxford study that came out, have a look on cowspiracy.com, look at the studies they cite. Again, it's the overwhelming scientific consensus that animal products drives most of the ills of the planet. Like it's overwhelming. If you think anything else, then you believe in fringe nonsense.
I also think it's pretty clear from the evidence that eating more plant-based foods can help reduce the risk of a wide range of chronic diseases, including colon cancer, cardiovascular disease,
Number
type
1
2
killer.
diabetes.
So why the bloody hell aren't you doing it? And why aren't you promoting it?
Finally, of course, for those who are concerned about animal cruelty, eating fewer animal products means less animals die. And whether or not you can do that in a humane way, of course, is up for debate.
No, it's really not up for debate. It's easy as the oppressor to say these things, oh, it's humane. Would you be willing, as the oppressor, to switch places with your victims? No, you would not, so stop talking tripe.
Also, I want to point out that despite what the internet trolls may say, dietitians like myself are not controlled by the meat and dairy industry. In fact,
Yeah, supposedly I'm involved in the government's Agenda 19 and veganism's here to depopulate the planet. So whatever thing you promote, like you are is in a conspiracy with the government or whatever.
Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has come out and said that a well-planned vegan or vegetarian diet can be healthful, nutritionally adequate, and may have benefits that can help prevent or treat chronic diseases.
Or reversed.
So with all that said, why don't I just go vegan?
Yeah, why the bloody hell don't you, Abbey?
Well, simply put, any kind of restrictive set of food rules is just not healthy for me, given my history of disordered eating.
So we're getting into the orthorexia story. Now, orthorexia, yeah, if you're gonna do everything to the letter, you better make sure that the advice you're getting is good. Let's see what advice Abbey got. And she's already said that like a well-planned vegan diet, can be optimal for, or at least can be very good for health. Like the top nutrition authority in the world, she just quoted the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics position there. So if you're going to follow someone's opinion to the letter, shouldn't you look at the science, which you just agreed is like the best data, like we know it's really good for us? Is it orthorexic to go with the best evidence, or is it just sensible? I'll let you figure that out for yourselves, home boys and girls.
So I've told my orthorexia story in my book, the Mindful Glow Cookbook. But every single day now, I'm getting DMs and comments on my YouTube channel and emails from all of you telling me about your relationship with food and your struggles that you're having in this kind of wellness culture that we're currently living in, especially when it comes to social media and the pressures around that. So I really felt like I wanted to take some time to tell my orthorexia story here on my channel as well. So when I was like 17 years old or so, I had just graduated from high school, and I sought out the help of a homeopathic practitioner to help me with some basic kind of digestive issues. So gas, bloating, digestive kind of pain or discomfort, all the kinds of things that we're talking and hearing about all the time on the internet, especially on YouTube. And her suggestion, of course, was to go on basically like a sugar detox, cutting out all the sugars in my diet, even the natural stuff.
Even fruit? Didn't any alarm bells go off in your head, Abbey? I mean, I know you were only young, but surely it's a pretty well-known fact that fruits are really good for us. All the credible health authorities of the world say eat more fruits and vegetables, all of them. What a load of old nonsense. Why would you listen to someone like that?
So I had always had like a generally balanced, healthy diet. I never really thought that much about food. I had never really dieted.
I think if you had a healthy diet, you wouldn't have had these issues that you just mentioned.
My diet consisted of like a very healthy balance. Sometimes there were turkey burgers with salads.
Wow, turkey burgers, not healthy.
Sometimes there was grilled vegetables with a little steak or...
Wow, steak, red meat, carcinogenic, promotes heart disease, our number one killer. No fibre, which is required for our gut microbes, for our gut, in order to be really well.
Pasta or a slice of pizza.
Wow, pizza, saturated fat, refined white flour. It's the least healthy foods on the planet.
I did it. I never felt the need to kind of binge. I never obsessed over what I was eating.
No, because you're eating crap all the time.
I just was eating ultimately intuitively, even though I didn't have a name for it then. I just was eating what felt good to me.
Just eating any old crap which tasted nice to me. And then I got on well, but I just pretended to myself that I ate healthily.
So my diet went from being relatively well-balanced.
Well-balanced. Some healthy stuff like maybe whole grain pasta and fruits and vegetables, and some stuff that promotes like the top causes of death. If that's what you call balanced, do you know what I mean? What is a balanced diet? Like everything in moderation. So how many like razor blades is it okay to eat? How many hand grenades is it okay to eat? Because you obviously can have a moderate amount of them. No, some stuff is just not worth putting in your mouth. Like razor blades, like hand grenades, like turkey burgers, like steaks.
To a handful of really restrictive, clean eating foods. So big salads without dressing.
Nothing wrong with big old salads without dressing. Although you can make healthy dressings using nuts and seeds, whizzing them up with a little water, adding an acid like lemon, lime, some sort of citrus juice, some kind of vinegar. Tahini is great in there, different herbs and spices, delicious and very healthy. Whole foods based is the key.
Or grilled chicken breasts and other really lean proteins.
We talk about chickens being lean. However lean your chickens are, they've still got sat fat. And the fact is that the muscle cells have sat fat and cholesterol as part of the membrane. So you're still eating tons of cholesterol. Like it's not healthy food. You don't need to eat meat. There's protein in meat, yeah, but that protein came from the plants the animals ate. Why do you want the sat fat, trans fats and cholesterol with it that promote the top causes of death? Like number one, heart disease, raises like all-cause mortality. It's just stupid.
Plain, no sauce, sugar-free Jello or other kind of diety products.
Jello. What? How is that clean? How is that healthy? It's just artificial chemical nonsense. Why did you listen to these people? Like how gullible are you?
Things like that. Yeah, I what started out as a desire to kind of kick a sugar habit very quickly spiraled into an overwhelming obsession and fear of all foods that I did not consider clean or healthy.
Yeah, so that was, that for you, that was terrible. But imagine if that advice had been good. Eat the range of whole plant foods, legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs and spices. Eat adequate calories. Supplement with vitamins B12, D3 in the winter months. Take in flax and chia for your omega-3s or DHA or DHA like supplements. It's unequivocal. The more whole plant foods we eat, the longer and happier and healthier we live. And the more animal products and any processed foods, even if they're pure plant foods, like sugar, for instance, the shorter our lifespan, the shorter our health span, the more we get disease, the more pain we've got in our body. We're inflamed, we're miserable. I'm sorry that you developed this orthorexia and it led you down a bad path, but you're not a little girl anymore, Abbey. You're a dietitian. You should know better. You know the science. Is it orthorexic to follow the science, to eat the healthiest diet as proven by science? Is that orthorexia, or is that just plain good common sense? Come on, this is a silly excuse. You're either being very disingenuous here, or you're thick. And I don't think you're thick, Abbey.
This is what orthorexia is all about. Really, orthorexia is an obsession with clean eating, with healthy eating. And
it's not if the advice is not health food. Not if the advice is eating animal flesh and sugar-free Jell-O.
And unlike other eating disorders like anorexia, where the concern is really on quantity of food, with orthorexia, it's all about quality or perceived quality, right? It's all about kind of eliminating those toxins or unclean foods from your diet. And even though it wasn't about weight loss for me, weight loss was never the goal. When I was eating such a small selection of foods and low calorie foods at that.
Steak is not low calorie, Abbey. Don't be daft.
About 50 pounds on my already, pretty small natural frame.
And so what could you do about that nowadays? If you went vegan and ate the healthy whole foods diet, which you just said is scientifically proven, to prevent and treat disease and reverse it, but you didn't say that. Do you know how many calories you need to survive now? Could you count your calories? Could you make sure that you were getting adequate in? You're a dietitian. I think you could probably manage it if you really wanted to. Just maybe this is your excuse to continue eating animals' dead bodies and trying to just, put the blinkers on, fingers in your ears so you don't have to hear their screams. How can you value your taste buds over the very lives of hundreds and thousands of animals year in, year out? How can you do that? You know it's unnecessary. You're a dietitian. You know you can get your nutrients from plants and you can take a couple of supplements. What are you doing?
And the only thing...
I'm a hairy-ass bloke and I would never take a chicken's life. No matter how much I like the taste of their dead body in a KFC sandwich.
More scary and up about that than the fact that I'm really lucky to be alive right now.
You're really lucky to be alive right now. Thousands of animals cannot say the same thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not that I don't have compassion for Abbey, and people with orthorexia. Yeah, that's horrible. All I'm saying is she's a dietitian. She knows better. She's a grown-ass woman. She knows now to eat adequate calories. She will know, eat the range of whole plant foods. Other than that, take these couple of supplements, and you'll be golden. I
mean, you can't really even go out for dinner anymore with friends without somebody talking about their new diet or detox. It's like we're trying to one-up each other on the moral value scale by restricting harder or more things.
I don't know about all that. It's certainly not the way my brain works. I just want to live the longest, happiest, healthiest life. So I'm looking at the science, I'm seeing what's best, and I'm eating that because I want to thrive. Happily, the side effects are it's far better for the planet and animals don't have to suffer unnecessarily. So it's win-win-win. Again, why would anyone not be whole foods plant-based? Vegan, it's just daft.
This is why, even though I see environmental, animal welfare, and health-based reasons to go plant-based, I cannot and will not ever be able to follow a strict vegan diet.
Don't follow a strict vegan diet then. Eat as many whole foods as possible. Eat the widest range of legumes, the most different types of whole grains. All the vegetables, all the fruits, all the nuts and the seeds, the herbs, the spices. There's hundreds of thousands of foods you can eat. You can eat in abundance. You can eat more food because it's less calorically dense. Make sure you eat enough calories. It's easily done. It's not a diet of restriction. It is the ultimate diet of abundance. Now what's your excuse?
Same would go for things like a keto diet or paleo or intermittent fasting or whatever. Even though it may be well-intentioned and grounded in wellness, I know that having to follow a strict set of rules would trigger my orthorexic tendencies and lead me back down that dangerous road that I worked so hard to get out of.
What is the danger, Abbey? All you could do is stick to legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, herbs, the foods that are shown to bring the greatest health outcome. The plant-based doctors who promote this whole foods, plant-based diet, they all say eat adequate calories. Make sure you're getting enough calories in. Don't just eat the same volume of food. Check your calories and make sure you're eating enough. What can possibly go wrong? Nothing. The side effect will be that you'll live longer and happier and healthier than ever. This orthorexia is horrible. But when you're applying a strict set of rules to the healthiest, most abundant diet, it's just bullshit. It's just a lame excuse to keep hurting animals, to put them through hell.
I also get that a lot of you who practice a vegan diet will claim that, this is not just about our health, it's about the health and well-being of the animals. And I totally understand that. I get that. However, this might just be a difference in values, but I feel that I need to value and prioritize my own health and well-being.
Why are you eating their dead bodies then? Because they promote disease. You're not making sense. This is backwards.
Over that of the animals in this case.
What is the essential nutrient that you can only get from dead bodies or animal secretions? Please let me know, because I've not found it in 10 years.
Some of you may not need to make that choice, and that's great. But just based on my own personality and history, I know that I'm superior to animals, and I like the taste of their dead bodies on my taste buds for a few seconds so they can have a short life of hell and then get brutally murdered. Orthorexia, though, what a lame excuse. So let's talk about my diet.
If it was any other diet, do you know what I mean? If it was an unhealthy diet, yes, that makes sense. But when it's the healthiest diet in the world, as proven by science, it's just a excuse.
How I eat.
Terrible.
And what works for me. Now, I know that people like rules, they like categories, they like black and white. I mean, society has taught us that we need these external regulators to help us make decisions about our...
How about just not murdering others unnecessarily? Is that like a terrible rule to live by? Not in my book.
Health and what to eat. But I've spent the better part of a decade trying to learn how to become comfortable with the gray and get back in tune with my body through intuitive eating. So what tends to work well for me is just eating foods that feel good to my body, make me feel satisfied. I'm honestly just eating in a way that feels good to me in that moment, meal, or day. Despite
the sheer terror and anguish that my food may have had to go through when being harvested. Which we would call, if it was applied to a human, we'd call it murder, by the way.
Usually that means eating a lot of plants with some dairy, fish, poultry, or meat in modest portions. I tend to feel most satisfied with some animals.
Oh, I'm only modestly dead. That's absolutely fine, Abbey. Eat my bum. That came out wrong.
I think just not having those strict rules means I don't feel like repressed or restrained in a way.
How do you think your victims feel? I imagine they feel a bit repressed. I imagine they don't feel too great, or hemmed in, pinned into their little cages or like warehouses or whatever, probably never seeing the light of day, being de-beaked and having their teeth ripped out, tails cut off, short miserable life in squalid conditions, living in their own shit and piss, and then queued up watching their friends and family be systematically executed in front of them while they're trembling, while they're shitting and pissing themselves, knowing that they're next. I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy, let alone a beautiful, defenseless little animal. Why would you do that to someone when you don't need to?
That makes me just emotionally want to bounce between two extremes, which I know would be my tendency if I imposed these really strict rules. Honestly, if I went...
What's really strict about not killing? Surely that's the minimum we can do.
Strictly vegan, I would be concerned that I would very quickly become un-vegan and be eating raw duck breast in the back of a cab like this guy. No, but seriously, I could never do that. But I do know that it's just not emotionally healthy for me.
There are so many mental health benefits to eating a whole foods plant-based diet. Some of the foods have compounds that lower your monoamine oxidase to give you more free serotonin and dopamine. And then when you eat animal products, these protein residues make it into the colon, they putrefy, they create putrescine, cadaverine, cortisol, which directly lead to anxiety, depression, dementia. There's but two things just straight off the top of my head there. I could sit here and name you like 15 different ways where it's so much healthier for your brain to stick to the whole plant foods.
Animal welfare and for our health can actually be achieved simply by consuming more plant-based products and consuming animal products in more modest ways. So for example, if we just thought of meat more like a side dish rather than always being the main event, or more kind of like a garnish, for example, on a dish to complement beans and legumes.
Why? What is the essential nutrient you can only source from dead bodies or animal secretions? Please tell me, because As far as I can see, and I've been looking for 10 years, I've been looking really hard. As far as I can see, there's nothing that you can't get with a whole foods plant-based diet with those couple of supplements.
And pulses, we probably wouldn't have to rely so heavily on factory farming. We would be able to enjoy the antioxidants and fiber found in plant-based foods, and we could still participate in some of the social and cultural activities
of eating murdered bodies
that involve animal-based products. I'm not here.
I'll tell you what, do you know, you can still go to dinner and not have meat on your plate. Do you know there's no difference actually, because I've tried it. What a stupid excuse.
To preach to anyone to change their diet. I mean, you do what works best for you.
And screw the agony of others.
You are the expert.
You're the center of the universe, not them.
In your own body. But I really just wanted to reiterate that I want Abbey's Kitchen to be a respectful place for a variety of diets and for everyone to eat in ways that feels intuitive and healthy for them. So
it's never healthy to eat animals. I'm sorry, the science is unequivocal.
if my story rings a bell for you, and you feel like you may be struggling with your relationship with food and disordered eating, we're gonna leave some really great resources in the description, so definitely check that out.
Well, that's nice.
I would also love to hear.
It's nice how compassionate you are to other animals who look exactly like you. God forbid they have feathers or hooves. Then the knives come out.
Please, a reminder to everybody, let's be respectful on this video in the comments section.
And if you're anti-murder, keep your fascist views to yourself.
Do not want any diet hate going on. So let's keep it clean.
What if people were eating humans, Abby? What if people were eating babies? What if people are eating cats and dogs? You know, I've seen a lot of omnivores saying, you know, f***ing Chinese, evil kill the f***ers. I don't talk like that, but I do point out that it is unnecessary to take an animal's life for your taste pleasure. And I'm sorry if that chaffs your ass.
But of course,
But I'm more sorry for the animals.
if you like this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up.
Now click this.